The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
Certainly aren't talking about Charlie's beard, which Charlie Mulgrew is with us, as you would see on social media. Craig, what do you make of it? He was in, obviously, at the decorators yesterday, getting rid of the grey.
My whole point in that post was I did not want this beard to be brought up, but here we are.
Straight away off the bat.
The headlines tonight.
Yeah, it's mahogany. It's no ideal, but I need to live and learn, Paul.
I'm John Mackay, 6 o'clock. The headlines across Scotland. Jackie Bird on the other line.
Man,
Craig,
you look fine, pal. You look fine.
A few of you on the socials.
Just stick to what you know. I should just start. Always, honestly, I get myself in these situations, but that's what it is.
You're up for phone calls tonight, guys?
Yep.
Yes.
0808 17 17 700. Is there anything else we can say about the weekend with the aftermath of the Old Firm? Well, there's going to be 2,500 Rangers fans at Celtic Park at the game later in the year, and I think that is good news. Football without fans is nothing. So
it's empty,
isn't it? Wouldn't it be? But it's a lot of people, it's saying, going to playing to the lowest common denominator. Keep the fans away. Are you kidding? It won't be the greatest derby in the world. No. Sort things out. Absolutely. Fans, stay on the pitch. Stay on the terracing. Yes. Don't go on the pitch. And then go home if you lose. I mean, that's it, really, isn't it?
That's it, Paul. Yeah. I mean, we can't, if we worried about every sort of outcome and every crowd and the minority, if we sort of like caved into the minority of what they're doing and running on the pitch and then never allowed fans in the stadium, then it would be ruining the biggest derby, one of the biggest derbies in the world. I think to have fans in the stadium is a much better spectacle, and if we just police it slightly better, and get rid of the minority, weed out the minority, find a way of not allowing them to go on the pitch and not allowing them in the stadium, then we'll be fine.
Greg?
No, I absolutely agree. I'm pleased that Rangers have an allocation for the match, and listen, we just hope, like I says, players stay on the field, supporters stay in the stand. Go and support and be as loud as you possibly can. Get 100% behind your team. Get to the game safely. Get away from the game and get home safely. That for me is really, really important. I think I've seen something as well, Paul, maybe last night, an announcement, Johnston Borough, that maybe announced that no balaclavas, no facial wear will be allowed or tolerated into their matches as well. Because, again, that was an element that, listen, every single club have got this supporter group, and it is a minority, but the covering of faces is normally a sign that you're up to no good.
Sure. Yeah, I was wondering why they were dressed as Spider-Man. I couldn't
I know,
work that one.
Don't know. Thought you might know that one. And players, I'm afraid now, if you score or whatever, you can't go in among the fans anymore. I know Rocco did it the other week at Killy. I mean, those pictures went round. People say, what an amazing moment. Yeah. But you can't have that. Some of the Rangers fans came on when Fernandes thought he'd scored on Sunday. And I do understand it, but you can't come on. So the Roccos can't go into the crowd. And fans, Rangers, Celtic, whoever, you can't come on the pitch anymore because that's your place of work if you're a player.
Absolutely, and look, again, I said on Tuesday night, Paul, not that I scored many goals, but I think it might have been one of my return matches, and I scored against St Johnstone, and you go into your supporters and all that sort of stuff, and again, that's something that I shouldn't have done. It's something that that shouldn't happen, because it just helps in terms of the people that are actually, trying to make sure that games go well, that there's no sort of like incidents.
What date was that, Craig? And we'll just check and get a retrospective.
I didn't score many. I didn't score many, but I did score at a lot of the clubs in terms of my debut match, Paul.
Did you? Yeah.
I did actually.
Give us one of them. Yeah.
Well, I'll give you three of them. I scored a debut for Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah.
I scored in my debut for Newcastle.
Wow. At St James's Park or away?
At St James's Park. Okay. It was in a pre-season friendly, but it was still.
This is impressive, Charlie, isn't it?
I scored in my debut for Crystal Palace.
Oh, wow.
And I also scored in my debut when I returned back to Rangers, and that was that goal against St Johnstone I was talking about.
Wow. Charlie,
that was some career even he comes off, by the way.
That was all the goals. That was all the goals I scored in my career.
I forgot you played with Mönchengladbach and Palace.
Charlie, what about you? Memorable goals for you? I know you've scored in an Old Firm game.
Memorable goals. Just remember Newcastle. talking about Newcastle there, I scored. We played Newcastle twice one season at Blackburn, beat them 1-0 twice, and I scored the 2 goals. Scored at St James's for a corner, beat them 1-0, and I scored at Ewood with a free kick. I beat them 1-0. So we beat them twice in the season. We get relegated and they get promoted.
Wow.
It's one of the great stadiums to play in, I would imagine, St James's Park. Right in the city, isn't it?
Beautiful. I watched that big game the other night there against Barcelona, and what a big club that is. When you see them in the Champions League, it's it's a great place to play. Passionate about their football. It's good to see.
So 08, 08, 17, 17, 700. Charlie Mulgrew, alongside me, Paul Cooney, and Craig Moore. Well, this time last night we were telling you Stephen Robinson probably on his way to Aberdeen as manager. He is. I saw the pictures today with the scarf around Stephen Robinson. What do you make of him being new manager of one of your old clubs?
Yeah, he probably deserves a chance. He's never managed a team really that are sort of at the size of Aberdeen. That will be demanded to be, and it's going to be interesting how he navigates a team that want to be third. Want to be the third biggest team in the country.
Do you think they are?
They're a big club, a one city club that there's a big expectation up there, Paul, and you don't. It's hard to kind of get grips to it until you're up there and you're in amongst it, and the fans demand you win games, and obviously the history goes before them, so there's a big expectation there, and it's teed me up well to then go on to play for Celtic, because I kind of understood the demands of a club that want to win, and demand to win. The interesting thing for me for Stephen Robinson will be he's always been a kind of 5-3-2 counter-attack manager. So I just wonder how he deals with the expectation of a team that need to be on the front foot and win games. He'll be okay if you're out at the end of the season. You'd imagine he'll get in there and organise things, and teams are always really organised, set pieces and stuff, and defensively. It's how that next season transpires and how then they're all of a sudden at home and the favourites in games, and they take the games to two teams will be the interesting part for me.
Because it's 18, 19,000 at most games at Pittodrie. What do you think about that, Craig? The fact that it'll be a different dynamic. Because if Aberdeen come to town, normally they're the bigger team than most clubs.
Yeah, and even in some of the early comments coming out from Stephen Robinson is about the type of entertaining football that he's looking forward to playing in Aberdeen. That is an expectation, but the most important thing obviously is about getting the results. So Charlie raises a good point. Clearly, the squad that's in place now is not good enough. It's a poor squad. But with regards to Stephen Robinson, there wasn't too long ago when he was also a name being mentioned for Rangers.
That's right.
And I probably felt and said at that time that he needed that next club that was kind of a bridge, somewhere in between, so Aberdeen, Hibs, Hearts. So the move absolutely makes sense. A lot of Aberdeen supporters not delighted with the situation, Paul.
Are they looking at the league table just now, seeing Aberdeen on 29 points, a dreadful season, but St Mirren on 24?
Do you know what I think's not helped them? And I don't know if you agree with this, Craig, is the Motherwell, Bertel Askew, the job he's done. People then begin to look and think, can we get somebody like that in? And it's no easy to come by these guys. So maybe Aberdeen fans are looking at that. I don't know.
The only strange thing I'll say about it is it's taken them so long to bring Stephen Robinson in.
Yeah.
Aberdeen were pushing about a thorough process that's worldwide, Alan Burrows and the like, and you're coming up with somebody 2 months later. That's 3 hours down the road, and you see every other week.
Exactly.
So it's a bit of a strange situation, which tells me that Aberdeen just got to the stage where they realised that the season was getting away from them. Yeah. And not only do they need a positive finish, you need to sell season tickets for next season.
And that tonking they took in the cup, to use one of your words, Craig,
I love it.
I don't have any of my own, that was the final straw, wasn't it, after that? That's the trophy they've got there, the Scottish Cup, first time in 35 years. It's on its way back to Hampden.
I was surprised how that game went, to be honest. I mean, I knew Dunfermline would be up for it, but I thought Aberdeen, it's a chance to save their season. Cup holders, can they get a run in the cup and can they get to the final again? With the teams that are in it, they must have thought that they could have had a chance of going on and potentially retaining the cup the way things have went, but nah, they went out with a whimper against Dunfermline. Yep.
So St Mirren said today, we can confirm Stephen Robinson has departed the club to join Aberdeen. The board of directors and everyone at St Mirren would like to thank Stephen for the role he's played at the club during 4 years in charge and wish him well for the future. 3 years running, top 6. It's phenomenal. Aberdeen should have done this 3 months ago. I mean, there's a momentum has been lost at St Mirren. Hey, they've got a trophy, but they're struggling at the moment. Probably time to go to Pittodrie. Callum McGregor, last night, I think we mentioned it. He's a doubt for Celtic this weekend because look at the games coming up. Celtic against Motherwell on Saturday at 3. Then Saturday evening, we've got Kilmarnock against Hearts, the table toppers, and then Rangers at St Mirren on Sunday. Who at 12 o'clock? Who's going to be in the dugout for them? Well, it's going to be Craig, isn't it? One of the assistants who will be there. I think the under-18s.
Yes, yeah. I believe so. Jamie Langfield is also going to help support that, and McManus, I believe, who was with the 18s.
Alan Manus, Alan McManus, yeah.
Ready for some calls? Let's take the first call tonight. Kevin is on the line. Kev, a Celtic fan. Hi, Kev.
How you doing, boys? All right?
Hi, Kev.
All right, Kev.
Good, thank you. You?
Good. Not bad at all. Actually, just wanted to talk about Celtic. A couple of potential maybe signings in the summer, but see, just
Good.
before I start, I didn't get a chance. I phoned earlier in the week. I didn't get a chance to mention, but obviously this Sunday was the scenes after the game. They weren't great, were they? They were horrendous, actually. However, as you know, Paul, I'm a big fan of my South American football.
You are, yeah.
I stayed up late to watch one of the regional cup finals, the Cruzeiro game.
It's crazy.
And it looks like they won the top terms because there was only the 22 red cards, so it wasn't that bad. 22 red cards. Hulk running about the pitch, just knocking folk out with Tyson Fury. That was crazy. So it might be bad here, but Brazil was that was a different level. What happened there? But anyway, only things closer to home. Just reading about today, a lot of Celtic fans, a lot of the podcasts, it looks like Celtic are look likely to try and make moves to sign Araujo, but it looks like he's caught the attention of a lot of clubs across Europe, and in particular, I think one of the clubs, the Mexican champions, are actually looking at maybe signing him as well. They've got plenty of money to fling about. And I was reading one of the Liverpool articles. I just came across it by accident, and it was This Is Anfield article, and they're kind of spitting feathers a wee bit because apparently Andy Robertson was spotted at Celtic Park after the Celtic game. Now, whether that could have been innocent, it could have maybe just been there through the stadium.
Yeah.
But firstly on Araujo, what do you think? Do you think the board would part with 9 or 10 million to sign Araujo with Alistair Johnson still there? And secondly, do you think the Celtic would potentially try and sign Andy Robertson if they couldn't secure Sarangi?
Okay. What about Araujo, first of all? Could he be signed for 9 or 10 million?
I don't think they'll sign a fullback for that amount of money. I don't think that with Alistair Johnson being there, I don't think there's any chance in Celtic spending 10 million to have two top-class fullbacks in the building. That's my opinion. I think he's done brilliant. He's been a breath of fresh air with his passion, his commitment, his intensity to the game. He showed that at Ibrox. But when there's that interest there and it's going to cost that money, Alistair Johnson's sitting there who you could argue is a better fullback.
Unless they sold him. If somebody came in for Alistair Johnson, maybe?
Potentially, but I still don't think Celtic would invest 10 million in a fullback. I don't. I think there was a lot of money spent in Kieran Tierney's wages this year. And obviously Kieran Tierney's a Celtic fan, grew up with the club, he's got an affiliation with the club, comes back. But I think when you're spending that amount of money, it needs to. If you're going to spend that amount of money, it's going to be in a forward player and a striker, somebody that can go for 25 million or more in the future.
Craig?
And that's the thing for me, Kev. So, one, that's a lot of money to spend on a fullback. I absolutely agree with that. They've got Alistair Johnson, who is a fantastic player. And I think it's very easy in terms of how you think it's possible or not possible. You're going to spend 9, 10 on Araujo. Are you going to sell him for 20, 25? Not for me. I couldn't see that return on the player because that means he has to go down to the Premiership. Yeah. I personally don't think physically he has the attributes to go and make that step.
Do you not? No.
Nah, I don't. Listen, but he's that villain, isn't it? That can cause and get under players from opponents. He can get under their skin. He's done a really good job at Celtic.
But where would you rather be? Not you personally, but if you're a Rocco and if Celtic do come in with an offer, but he's got an offer of the Mexican champions, would you not want to be here? I know he loves playing for Mexico. He wants to get back in the team, but would you not want to play?
I would, but you're asking me who's a Scottish player, a Scottish fan that grew up in Scotland, so he's obviously Mexican, so he would maybe prefer that. I don't know. I mean, he looks really happy here.
Too happy. He's got to leave. He's got to leave.
And what would be second point? Kev, what was your second point?
Was it about Robertson?
Yep,
Kev?
Yep, Andy Robertson for Celtic. And this has been mentioned for ages.
Andy Robertson.
I'll tell you, see the way he played the other day.
That's another thing, though. Do you spend fortunes on Robertson?
When you've got Tierney.
When you've got Tierney there? I mean, it's all about, managers have budgets and you have a certain amount to spend across your squad. Now, to have two left backs taking a big chunk of your budget would be an issue for me.
Kev, where would you rather see, say if you had 10, 15, 20 million to spend, I mean, I can guess where you want that money being thrown. I'm pretty sure you don't want it thrown at defence.
No, I would probably rather spend it on a creative midfielder or a striker.
Absolutely.
Actually, a striker's priority.
Kev, did you see him? No.
Would you sign Andy Robertson though?
Yeah.
It depends. It depends what the wages and the fee was.
Mm-hmm. Well, would there be a fee? Is his contract up?
Yeah, I think it is.
His contract's up. He's come out. He obviously has mentioned a couple of times he'd love to finish his career at Celtic. It's just whether or not he feels that he's at that stage yet.
Scotland. He's only did you see him, Kev? Then you would at the weekend. Did you see his assist and his goal the other day?
Yeah.
I mean, he was a breath of fresh air.
He still got so much to offer. You see, for Scotland, he still gets so much to offer as a left back. The issue you get sometimes with fullbacks is when they come with that amount of money. You've seen it with Kieran Tierney this year. Everybody expects this amazing player to appear for this budget, the amount of budget you've spent on the player, but you're only a fullback at the end of the day, and it's no disrespect to fullbacks. I mean, you can only bring so much. You see Andy Robertson with Scotland sometimes. There's only so much you can bring for fullback.
Yeah,
and he's done brilliant for Liverpool, but he's been surrounded by stars as well. And he could come to Celtic and be a brilliant fullback for Celtic. But what I'm saying is, for the budget he would take up in the wages, I don't know if it would be worth having two left backs in.
What's that? Oh, I think that was us hearing it back. Listen, what are you thinking, Kev, for Saturday? Is it going to be a different kind of game? If Celtic are a bit more defensive, I'm just looking at Charlie. I heard you in the show the other night, Charlie.
Yeah.
And you were saying Celtic fans might have to get used to them playing a bit differently to win ugly.
Well, I just think that Celtic without Callum McGregor, Celtic with Callum McGregor recently it's hard. I've no controlled games in possession. We've seen Aberdeen away. For the first 10 minutes they did, as soon as they get pressed, they couldn't control the game. That's with Callum McGregor on the team, and teams are putting Callum McGregor to get man marked. I think now Celtic maybe just need to accept that we go 4-4-2 and we say, right, we maybe not going to have it. Definitely on Saturday, Celtic probably are going to have the majority of the ball. I think you could almost guarantee that.
That's a big statement, though, Charlie, as well. I know Motherwell are excellent and have shown that they can dominate the ball possession-wise as well. But Celtic at home to Motherwell, you'd still like to think can dominate the ball.
I made a mistake on here the other night. I said that Motherwell had more possession in the first game at Celtic Park, and they actually didn't. They had less possession. So, but I think going there without Callum McGregor and that team that played on Sunday, I can't see Celtic dominating. But then it's not all about possession, but I don't think they even had any sort of threat in the final third. So I don't see how the best footballing team in the league that lock teams in their half and dominate possession, how Celtic can produce a much more threat. They need to produce more threat than they did on Sunday. But I don't know. It's going to be a real interesting game this on Saturday.
Kev, what do you think?
I think Charlie made some good points there. I just think it's all to do with these players need to find form. I'm hoping that Sunday. Listen, we've come through some set of results there without playing well. One way or another, when things kick into gear, we're due a performance, as in a dominant performance for this side. Because I mean, look at the run of fixtures we've had. We've come through them undefeated. So it's going to be a really difficult game. I've got to go with maybe a 2-1 Celtic. It's going to be really, really difficult. But I'm honestly confident they will get the job done.
Kev, I've been thinking the same as you since Martin O'Neill first came back and played Dundee United. and it was a brilliant performance at home. Since then, I've no saw Celtic have a dominant performance, and I keep saying it needs to come. Now I'm at the stage of going, does it need to come? Should we just accept that we are where we are? Recruitment's not been great. The squad's at a level where we're going to need to grind this out for 9 games, 10 games to the end of the season. That's where I'm at the moment. I just can't. I don't see a repeat. I see a Tati coming back to a wee bit of form, so I'm a bit hopeful on that, but I'm not sure that performances is going to be a thing for the end of the season.
I think it's hard as well, Charlie, because when you get into a rhythm of certain types of displays, performances, whatever you want to call them, again, you can't just switch a light like that. It just turns and all of a sudden you're going to go and goals can normally kind of do that for you. But I think at the moment the kind of form that Celtic are in, their thought process going into the game against Motherwell is how do we win eight or nine personal duels, because that will win us the game of football.
Yeah,
that will win us the game of football. It might not be dominating the ball because we haven't seen that from Celtic for some time. And you look at the player, is that the Kiwi lad Elijah Just for Motherwell?
Of course,
he's going to be a key player in this match. Yeah. And all of a sudden, who defensively in the midfield is going to be able to?
What my worry is, and I totally get your point. My worry is being at Celtic. So being at Ibrox, you can almost be this underdog mentality. You lose Cal McGregor, you lose Kieran Tierney before the game. It's almost like all backs to the walls here. Let's
that
just
game
defend.
takes care of itself.
You can almost afford to not have possession. And I mean, the way people are talking about the Celtic game is they offered zero in possession, absolutely nothing. But we're still talking about how good the result was, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. Now, can Celtic go to Celtic Park and play against Motherwell and have the same display of sitting on the edge of their box and letting Motherwell dominate the ball? I don't know. I could just imagine sitting watching that game 15 minutes in, and then the groans would start. And then that filters onto the pitch and the players start to think, oh no, they start pressing them ones and twos and they get picked off by Motherwell, and all of a sudden there's chances that come. It's the exact opposite to when you play, for example, a Champions League game and you're a huge underdog. Just say you play Barcelona and you say, right, we're going to defend, and all of a sudden you defend, and the crowd, there's a lack of expectation there, so the crowd just accept.
It's your throw-in, remember, you want to throw in eventually.
Yeah, the crowd are buzzing. It's not the same when you're playing Motherwell at home, so it's going to be interesting how that game goes.
Yeah. Charlie Mulgrew's new video will be out soon, 101 great throw-ins.
With a brown beer.
Kev, thanks for getting us talking. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Craig Moore is with us along with Charlie Mulgrew. 0808 17 17 700. This time last night, Mark Guidi was here bringing us all the latest news. And Aiden McGeady making his debut he was on a few years ago, Charlie, but of course, and he was revealing the fact we were talking about you at Kelty Hearts, because I think you'd spoken to him about life and coaching and all the rest of it.
Yep.
What a player he was. He's one of the best you played alongside.
Oh, certainly. Well, I come through Aiden. I've known him since I was 10 or 11 years old, so I've known him for a long time. We used to go to tournaments, Paul, from the age of 10, 11, honestly, and you know how like you go to these tournaments and you go up to you'll always be obsessed with like the Real Madrid and the PSV, and you're like, what are these players and Ajax players? They were obsessed with him. He get played a tournament, every tournament. He used to just dribble by people. His feet and his skill was like another level. People were obsessed by him, and he obviously went on. And what he had more than that, Paul, was his attitude, the way his determination, his fight, his will to make a career for himself, his belief in his own ability was inspiring, even for somebody the same age as him that came through with him. His determination, I think there's a story goes, I mean, he would confirm it, but I think John Robertson or something pulled him. We'd just been full time for a year or two, and he says like, Aiden, he's like, can I have a word? He says to John Robertson, like, or Kenny McDowell, I don't know. He says, one of them, can I speak to you about no playing? And somebody, all right, let's have a word. And he says, well, we'll try to play some of the other boys in the reserves and that. He went, no, the reserves, the first team. He had such a belief on what he could bring. I admired the way he trained with the first team, and he showed his ability. I mean, I was a nervous wreck training with the first team at that age. If I ever get near it, I didn't get near it at that age, but if I ever did, even later on, 18, 19, wow, I was scared to give the ball away. He just played with such a freedom. He was a real top player, and you see, I mean, how many players move from Celtic for £10 million and above,
and went to Moscow.
Yeah,
that took courage.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
it did, and he learned the language and that as well. He was really clever at school. His dad was big on him sticking at school, so he learned the language out there as well. And he was quite, I would have said he was quite a Glasgow homeboy, Aiden, and he took that leap. Obviously, the money helps. I mean, I would take that leap myself.
And see with the language, Charlie, seriously, on the language, did he help you with your English? Craig, what did you make of him, Aiden McGeady?
Look, for me, he's a throwback in terms of wingers. Like, you used to see wingers, demanding to get the ball, and when he received the ball, he only had one thought, and that was to get at the fullback at pace. And then all of a sudden, it becomes a really tricky situation for defenders. Yeah. A lunge leads to a yellow, potentially a red. But no, he lively player. Didn't look physically imposing or anything like that, but could certainly still take the knocks.
Well, he was told at a young age he needs to bulk up, and he that was another part of his game, that he went to the gym every single day, and he did get a lot stronger, and he worked on both feet, technically really good with both feet. It really done well, and with ability, obviously great ability, but his attitude, his determination, he was doubted a lot of the time. It's spells, but he done amazing, done really well.
Maria, I hope you're listening. Granddaughter's playing, I saw her on Sunday playing really well. Noah, Leo, maybe not the tallest, but gets stuck in. Because people can tell you that, but you go in and some of the greatest players, look at Lionel Messi.
Yeah, but Paul, I always say, right, see the back end of my career was at Newcastle. Nicky Butt. Oh, yeah. Now you stand next to Nicky Butt, and there's not too much of Nicky Butt. But I tell you what, the heart of a lion. He never got shoved off the ball. He was still in there winning tackles against people that were punching well above his weight and all that sort of stuff. It comes from within. It really does.
I played against him in a Legends match at Old Trafford last year. And
Nicky Butt.
Yeah, I ran past him and he just volleyed me.
Yeah.
Off the ball.
Yeah.
I was like, no, it was off the ball. The ref, they were jogging back to a corner or something. And he just volleyed me. And I was like, what are you doing?
I was hard as nails.
And he was like, I don't know, I must have caught him with a flaying arm or something, but he was right up for it, him.
Harry's been on 0808 1717 700 saying who is going to be the next St Mirren manager, and he's asking a couple of names being mentioned, and one of them, Stephen McGinn. Do you think Stephen's
a name that obviously you understand why it's been thrown in the hat, Paul. He was at the football club, wasn't he? He was under 18s coach. Right.
Captain beforehand.
The captain of the football club. He's also away at Falkirk at the moment as assistant coach. So again, continuing his education. So you listen, a lot of clubs, when you start looking for new managers, there's normally always a link previously to the football club, so you can understand why Stephen's name's in the mix.
And I think they've probably said to him, you need to bring John McGinn in as well. He needs to be the first signing, and you'll get the job if you bring John.
Deal's done. Aye. John could be playing tonight, of course, in Europe. It's only 2 weeks ago since the Stuttgart Celtic game. Well, seems ages, doesn't it? But see, on the job, who else do you think? I think you've got a couple of names you were thinking of.
If I had to take a guess right now off the top of my head, I'd see Stephen A. Smith.
Okay.
Any reason why, Charlie?
I'd heard somewhere down the line he knows somebody at St Mirren, maybe high up. I can't remember who even said to me, but it crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And I think that he would. Yeah. If you've got, sometimes you know what it's like. You're an agent. If you've got a connection with somebody in the club, that helps. It helps. So I know zero about it. I'm taking a guess, taking a punt. That's who I would say, Stephen Naismith.
Paul, what a job for whoever goes in there. They're in Europe for next season.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the back of the winning the cup.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's an amazing opportunity for whoever goes in there.
Charlie Adam has thrown his hat in the ring. Could you see it? You know Charlie well, Craig. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Charlie, we had different times at Rangers. I mean, he's in at Burnley now, isn't he? Back in, I think, with the 21s. He was at Fleetwood and done a little bit there, I believe, Charlie.
He was manager there, right?
Fleetwood. Yeah. Okay. He's edged a couple of times to kind of roles. Dundee when it was previously open there as well. So there's obviously a desire for Charlie to get back maybe up the road and be a head coach as well.
What about Neil Lennon? He's been mentioned. Don't know, would he?
That would be a very good appointment.
Yeah,
that would be a great appointment, actually. Yeah. I don't know if he would leave Dunfermline. He's obviously
got a good wicket there.
Yeah, and he's got a good project going on there. And Dunfermline are obviously a big club that should be in the Premiership. So But if they could get Neil Lennon in, that would be a right good move.
And of course, St Mirren getting apparently around £250,000, which, I mean, they did well with Stephen Robinson. They fattened up the contract not that long ago and probably had that. So it's £250,000, which could help to get Neil Lennon from Dunfermline.
Yep.
Although they've done so well in the Cup. It's a huge job. Sir Alex Ferguson was the manager at St Mirren. Can you imagine that they got rid of him all those years ago?
Wow.
It's mad, isn't it, Craig? Some of the things in football. But it was great to see him back there. Neil McCann's been speaking about the game at the weekend. Arguably one of the games of the weekend. It's on the telly. Kilmarnock up against the league leaders Hearts. And there's a bit of spite in that one, Craig, isn't there? You know, Derek McInnes coming back to Kilmarnock where he did a brilliant job, but they didn't like the fans, that he went through to Hearts. But my goodness, it's worked out well for him.
Yeah, and listen, you know, I think any normal person would understand that the opportunity that provided itself for Derek, that going to Hearts was a bit of a no-brainer. Look, two managers that know each other extremely well. You throw in the mix there, obviously Billy Dodds as well. I think that this is potentially a banana skin for Hearts.
Do you?
Yeah,
Right.
I do, because, listen, I know Kilmarnock took a sore one against Falkirk. I actually seen Nearly and asked him about the match, and he just he shrugged his shoulders. He goes, listen, sometimes you just, you know, you're outplayed, and we got to dust ourselves down and forget about that one as soon as possible. I think at home, I think with Kilmarnock's position, I think it's a really tough game for Hearts. I think it's going to be close.
As Neil McCann will try to get points in there, and it's another sort of, it's not happened many times this year where Celtic get a chance to sort of put pressure on Hearts, and they play after. I mean, it happened a few weeks ago when Rangers played Hearts at Ibrox. But it's another opportunity, and the psychological edge for that is massive, because if Hearts are sitting before that game and Celtic have not got a result, they'll get a huge lift. If Celtic get a result, the pressure will mount. So it's a big game for Hearts.
Rangers, it's been quiet since the game at the weekend. Danny Rowley was talking about what's going to happen now that, you know, that's the Cup is out the way, sadly, from Rangers' point of view. What about the coming weeks for Rangers?
The final details, because, and this is also part, when you have not the mentality, not the personality, then you will have not react like this we did today. We have this, there's no question mark when I see my group, what I did during the week, how we lift each other, how we prepared it, how focused we are, what we can do, and you deliver such a performance 120 minutes. Then in football, and I think this is also part of football, you need in some moments a little bit of luck on your side to score in the right moments. And I'm convinced if you work so hard and you improve so massive, this more momentum will come back. And then let's see where we are in the next couple of weeks.
Craig Moore, what would you say?
Listen, I said on Tuesday, Danny Rowell has definitely improved Rangers since he's come in. There's no doubt about that for me. Are Rangers good enough to win the league? Still probably not for me. But what I do hope that is happening now, between now and the end of the season, is that in training sessions, players are challenging one another. Right, and that means at times, Paul, it gets physical. Charlie, you would have been involved in changing rooms and clubs where it's exactly the same. That is what drives competition. If you're a player that didn't start in the last game, how can you get yourself in that team? It's that kind of mentality and desire within training that is going to get you primed and ready to go and win football matches between now and the end of the season. Rangers have got a lot of nice football players. I'm yet to see enough of them have the ugly side. Yeah. And I'm not saying running about booting people up in the air, Paul. Streetwise, smart footballers. That, for me, is still something, along with mid to final third, more creativity and openings. But I think Danny Rowell has done, he's done a good job. I know that there's still there's a little bit from the support suggesting that maybe he's not the man to take this club forward. The club is desperate for stabilisation. Yeah, it needs stability. I played with some wonderful players, but I tell you what, they could all be a little bit nasty as well. Sure. And I think that's what Rangers lack. I really do.
Yeah, and I think a lot's been made of Danny Rowell recently. We get asked on Monday by a caller, should he be under pressure? And I said no, and then I was called a hypocrite because I called for Nancy to go. But I've seen that as two completely different situations. For me, since Nancy's come in, said it weeks ago, since Droll's come in, he's not been happy with the squad. He then gets his squad in, but the first chance he actually, or if the first chance where everybody's fit and he puts them on the pitch, we said it should have been Motherwell, but he never done it for whatever reason. Then against Hearts and he wins 4-2, arguably the best performance of the season. Then they play Livy, he doesn't put the players on the pitch again for whatever reason. The Deary's not there. Then he does it Celtic again, batter Celtic for 45 minutes, has a poor second half, and then does it in the semi-finals. It's really only 4 games where he's played what would be, or a chance to play his new signings, his 4 new signings, and play that 4-2 with the 2 narrow wide men, fullbacks given the width.
His best team.
His best team. Yeah. So I think that he needs time to get them on the pitch, and he'll be judged. There's a big time coming up for him. He's going to be judged now, but he's got the players. He's now got a chance to go and play them. And I think the Rangers fans have been expecting results because now the players are on the pitch and the results have not came, but there's been performances within those games, I think, that show good signs for Rangers compared to before when they were picking up results and playing nowhere near as good.
I'm also of the opinion, find a way to get Tavernier in the team.
Yeah. Okay.
I am. I know that, again, people have knocked him. But for me, he's a very, very big performer for Rangers. And I know he'll be disappointed about the exit of the cup and missing the penalty and all that sort of stuff. But I also know that there's too many people seen what Tav has done on a day-to-day basis to still give him the responsibility that he has at that football club, right? For me, he is still somebody that will offer and give up opportunities to his teammates. His delivery wider areas is great. He can pop up and score goals. If they get any more penalties between now and the end of the season, he's on the field, he'll grab that ball and he'll put it in the back of the net. I have that confidence. Does Danny Roll have that confidence?
It doesn't look like it, does it?
I wonder if he'd played in Sunday, all right? Considering what Scove Olsen gave, right? So imagine Tavernier's playing wide right. Would he have gave more than Scove Olsen if you take into corners into consideration, the amount of corners they had, the amount of free kicks they had, and then when they come on the deliveries he put in the box? So if you ask Tavernier, and I said this to Scotty Arfield, would you put Tavernier right wing? And he says, I don't think he can do it. He needs to be coming on to the game. And I would say, well, if you're going to dominate games like you did against Celtic, put Tavernier on your right touchline and say, stay there. We'll get the ball to you. Take it with your feet and put it in the box. We've got 2 big strikers in there, Chermiti and Deary. Get a midfielder in there, get the opposite winger in, get 4 in the box, make sure there's there, and get Tavernier delivering, and you will get success.
In a wing-back role?
No, in a right wing role.
Yeah. I'd play a 5 at the back. And then either Tavernier can do that as a traditional wing-back.
Yeah.
Right? Or, similar to what Scotland do with Andy Robertson and Kieran Tierney, you can double up. You can even have Tav inside, Sterling outside that's doing that work. And Tav's still going to find opportunities from decent enough areas to get good delivery into the strikers.
Oh, well, even that then. Don't play him wide in the right. Say, right, you tuck in and play in there because he's
clever enough to do that.
Barry Ferguson said he would play him midfield. He said he could do a job midfield. So why not play him then maybe inside one and he can then make the delivery? I don't think Rowe, be honest with you, I don't think Rowe particularly fancies Tavernier. I think it shows when it comes to games when he gets a chance to play Sterling. He does it. He does it because I think Danny Rowe deep down is a defensive manager that firefights, and his strong points are his defensive structure, and he goes for more defensive minded players like Sterling at right back that doesn't have the quality going forward as much as Tavernier, but has the defensive attributes.
Craig, tell us what you were going to say straight after this break.
Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Going back in the line, the second of 2. Craig, just before the break, you were about to add there, we were talking about Sterling, we were talking about Tavernier and how Rangers would adapt.
It was more to follow on from Charlie's point about Scov Olsen. Yeah. Now he's taking a bit of stick from the supporters in regards to his output. You know, he's on loan, and there's a big buy option, I believe, 8 or 9 million, which again is a lot of money.
Which you're not going to do at the moment, I wouldn't imagine, on what you've seen.
No, but again, it's one of those ones, and I know people hate to hear it. You know, but certain players do need time. Yeah. You know, I needed time as a young fella coming in, and all that sort of stuff. But I understand the big expectation at the football club. Yep. You know, win now, ready-made now. Yep. But again, you look at the similar kind of criticism that come Fernandez's way. Yep. Now,
I've seen Barry Fry. Is he his agent now? He's saying he's worth what, 20, 30, maybe 40 million.
I imagine Barry Fry and Peterborough have a nice little sell-on clause there. Listen, but again, Fernandez spent a decent amount of money.
Yeah.
Wasn't really playing. All of a sudden, he gets a run of games, and you can see. I mean, to be fair, I seen there was a player anyway, but he needed to play games. But he's not worth 30 or 40 million. But the argument is, you don't get time. I remember George Albert's his first training session at Rangers. I'm like, oh my God,
Were you? Yeah.
Oh, I'm like, he's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Mikey Moles.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, like so.
Yeah.
You can also see a serious player.
Sure.
There
Even Mark Hateley, am I right in thinking he came with a huge reputation? Of course, AC Milan, all the rest. But he had a tough start at the beginning. And Rangers fans then, along with Ali, absolutely love him.
Yeah. Okay, so sometimes it takes time. The unfortunate situation for Rangers with 9 games left for the title run-in, you don't have time.
Laurie's on the line. I'm not sure that he absolutely loved any of those players.
Laurie's a good
We know
football
Laurie.
man.
Laurie, good evening.
Paul, good evening. The two guys who are on the programme tonight are two of my favourite guests, Charlie and Craig.
You're in the right channel.
Yes, Laurie boy.
Paul, it's very seldom I phone twice in the same week.
Yeah.
But if
It's
I
our
can
lucky
indulge
week.
myself by speaking to both guys.
Okay.
Firstly, Craig. Craig, good evening, big fella.
Evening, Laurie. How are you, mate?
I'm doing good, Craig. Now, you were a stalwart and a very decorated player for Rangers, and you were a Socceroo. My question to you, Craig, is, I'm intrigued by this. When you played for Australia, Craig, and of course you had to travel halfway across the world to play in qualifiers, I would imagine Thailand, the Fiji Islands, etc. So here's my question to you specifically, Craig. When it was an international break, given the distance involved, did the Socceroos have a training base where you caught with them, or did you fly direct to the away venues?
Yeah, listen, I mean, the Socceroos, which is obviously the national team of Australia, still don't have a home base, would you believe, Laurie? So for example, even if we were flying back to Australia, we would check into a hotel and we would train where we would train in preparation for the game. If it was an away fixture, like you say, we would fly directly to that country and report to the hotel and all that sort of stuff. Listen, the flights were long, but again, that was just part of it. It was like you just suck it up. That's the way it was back in the day. But a funny story, Laurie, with all of that travelling, I remember when I used to come back from international break, and Barry Ferguson in particular, who on the show very, very well, he used to say to me, he goes, Oz, by the way, he says, you've come back flying. Yeah. He says, mate, it's like this, you've got such a spring in your step and all that. I loved going back and representing my country. It meant so much to me because, it was a group of lads that, a little bit like Scotland now, I think, that togetherness where it's like brothers. And you were always excited to go back because of the stories and hear what was happening at each other's clubs and, what was happening in your general lives and what sort of stuff. And it was such an injection of enthusiasm that then come back and also was a very, very positive impact, in my opinion. Barry Ferguson, what he used to say to me at training, to Rangers as well when I returned.
Yep.
Craig, can I ask you this? Given the distances that you were travelling, in excess of 10,000 miles...
Economy class as well, let me tell you, Laurie. It wasn't business class.
Craig? Craig, how did you cope with jet lag? Was that a consideration?
And Craig,
was that a problem you had to overcome?
I'll tell you, my pause there is because Rangers have now spoken. They've issued a long statement following events at the weekend. But back to you and the jet lag. I've asked you that before.
Yeah.
But you came back, somehow it didn't really affect you, did it?
Now, the jet lag, so again, international break, you play a Wednesday night. You normally go out and have a couple of beers, Laurie, if I'm honest. Flew out Thursday. You would arrive on Friday morning. On the back of very little sleep, you would do a loosener, so a really light session on Friday and get home as soon as possible to catch up on as much sleep as possible. Maybe melatonin to try and get that sleep in preparation for the game. It was just the way it was, Laurie. I didn't think anything but that's what needed to be done. So managed to do that, no problem.
Craig. You travelled such distances.
Sure.
Paul, can I speak to Charlie?
You're through. On you go.
Laurie, all right, mate?
Charlie, big man, I remember many years ago I was in a phone-in in Glasgow. In fact, I think Paul was connected with the station in question. But anyway, one night Frank McAvenny was on it.
Yeah.
And you were playing for Celtic at the time, Charlie, and I decided to wax lyrical about your prowess with your educated left foot, big man. This is quite a humorous story I'm about to impart. And I told Frank, I said, Big Charlie, I says, that educated left foot of his, I says, he can pass a ball with slide rule precision. I says, he can deliver free kicks with unerring accuracy. I says, in fact, I says, such is his ability with his left foot. I says, he could easily grace the yellow shirt of Brazil. Frank had had enough at this point, Charlie. He says to me, Laurie, he says, get a grip yourself, big man. He says, I think you're getting carried away.
Did he ask what you've been drinking?
He's teetotal.
I appreciate it,
now.
Laurie. I appreciate that, mate. I feared the worst there when you said you phoned in a phone in.
Charlie, can I ask you a question? I know that this is many, many years after the event in question, but there was a time you had went for a 50-50 ball with Kyle Lafferty.
Yeah.
And of course, he made a meal of it, and you ended up getting sent off.
Yep.
And I remember Walter Smith was absolutely disgusted with his fabrication. How difficult did you find, Charlie, to deal with that situation without losing your temper, given that you were the innocent party?
Well, first of all, when you're at teams like Aberdeen, the same as when I was at Dundee United, and kind of growing up in the outskirts of Glasgow, being a Celtic fan, you look forward to the games against Celtic and Rangers, to go to Celtic Park and play against a team that you've supported, to actually be in that stadium and play, and then to go to Ibrox and hopefully take some points off Rangers. Obviously, you were trying to take points off Celtic as well, but again, these are the places you wanted to play. So I turn up there, and 20 minutes in, this incident happens. I play a ball down the line, Lafferty tackles me, 2 square up, and then he just falls, and there was no VAR at the time. Gets sent off. I can't remember the referee's name. I've got his face in my memory right now, but it was his last ever game, and you'll know his face. Totally forgot his name. Devastated, because you know that's not getting overturned. Once that red's shown, that's not getting overturned, and you're off the pitch. So
and was it totally unfair?
Oh, it was totally unfair. He never touched me. I never touched him. The twos went face to face, and he's kind of nudged in towards me, and he went down. And it was clear as day. But at that time, there's no chance of getting. And I know at the time, everybody will realise this after the game, that I've not touched him, because they'll see the highlights, or they'll see it back. But I know at the time I'm off the pitch, so I just walk off the pitch, and Jimmy Calderwood and Sandy Clark and Jimmy Nichol are absolutely fuming with me. But I said, I've not touched them. I've not touched them. And then they eventually realised. And Laurie, when I was driving back up to Aberdeen, the phone went, and it was Ali McCoy, and him, and he wanted to apologise on behalf of Rangers Football Club, and I thought that was a touch of class as well. So I was fuming, Laurie, but there was no getting that game back. But I mean, it was a bit of a consolation that I got the call on the way back up the road, and I met Kyle Lafferty.
Charlie, I'll say what you might be too professional to say, big man. It was a travesty of justice.
Oh, I was gutted, but I met him in a nightclub in Glasgow a few weeks later.
What happened?
Genuinely, Paul, we had a laugh about it. It was done. It was gone. It was over with, and that was it.
Laurie, I'm going to have to crack on. Thank you so much for your call. It's good to hear. Praise for Craig and for Charlie.
Cheers, Laurie.
Rangers, I'll tell you after the news. Good night. Thank you. Rangers are supporting an independent review into events at the weekend, and I'll tell you more after the news.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King. Watch live at 5 p.m. weekdays on YouTube. Join the conversation on 0808 17 17 700. Talking Scottish football first.
We sure are heading to the weekend that finishes with the Dundee Derby. And Charlie, you'll be there. Dundee United, your old club. St Mirren against Rangers at 12. What's going to happen at the top of the table before that? Because Celtic kick off at 3 on Saturday against Motherwell. They could narrow. A win means they narrow the gap on Hearts. And of course, Motherwell, one of the best teams in the country, should be fascinating. And then Kilmarnock against Hearts, 8 o'clock on Sky on Saturday evening. Hibs play Livy at 3. And Aberdeen with Stephen Robinson in the dugout against Falkirk. Again, one of the best teams in the country. And wow, it's going to be some weekend. Right, just before the news, I mentioned to you a statement has come from Rangers. both clubs were criticised by the Chief Constable. I think I'm right in saying yesterday. She said, well, there's still no word from the clubs. Here's the Rangers. It's quite a lengthy one. I'll try and cut it down. I'll try and get the main points. Following the events of the Scottish Cup at the fixture at Ibrox, we've spent the past few days in discussions with staff, supporter groups and the relevant authorities. And we will continue to work closely with Police Scotland and all the relevant authorities, including the SFA. The disorder that occurred on Sunday was unacceptable, and we, Rangers, condemn it unequivocally. Safety must always come first for supporters, etc. We also want to recognise the efforts of the many staff, stewards and emergency services. There are now a number of serious issues which require proper examination. For that reason, we agree there should be a fully independent review into the events. That review must be thorough and wide-ranging, examining the decisions and the actions of all relevant parties. Its scope must include the broader context around the fixture, from the initial decisions on ticket allocations through to the sequence of incidents that followed the match. All parties must be prepared to have their actions and decision-making subjected to proper scrutiny. Where individuals are identified and convicted of offences connected to the match, the club, Rangers, will take action and impose appropriate sanctions, including the potential withdrawal of ticketing privileges and stadium bans. We'll approach all regulatory engagement responsibly and cooperate fully. At the same time, we will represent the club and our supporters robustly. We recognise that many fans want the club to say more at this stage, and supporters should be assured that we are across the detail of the issues being discussed. However, it's important that we respect any ongoing judicial processes and do nothing that could prejudice them. There'll be an appropriate time for this. Then finally, they say, what we can now say is that issues of stadium safety and legacy of the Ibrox disaster are deeply personal to the club. We were appalled to discover graffiti within the stadium referencing the tragedy, which we have mentioned a number of times since then. The memory of the 66 who died in January 1971 deserves dignity and respect. To desecrate their memory is vile, it's cowardly, it's shameful. It's not football rivalry, it's not banter. It's the abuse of a tragedy that claimed 66 lives. And finally, important that the reputation of Rangers supporters is treated fairly in this discussion. For now, it would not be appropriate to comment further. Craig, there's a lot in there. They are welcoming an independent inquiry into it. They're saying that everyone should give a factual account of what went wrong. Fans, policing, stewarding, everything. And what do you feel?
Again, I think that an independent inquiry, investigation is important. I also think that it's important that everybody cooperates, with that investigation. There's some strong language, I guess, towards the end in regards to the 1971 and the tragedy in January of the 66 people that lost their lives. And again, listen, we want to try and have this game. We understand the rivalry, but it's so important, Paul. Like before the game, any carry-on, that sort of stuff. This needs to be gone. After the game, the carry. Go and support, and it's a bad word, but go and hate each other for 90 minutes. But when you leave that stadium, you know what I mean. I've got mates that are Celtic supporters.
Of course,
Charlie, I'm sure you've got pals that are Rangers supporters that you have a beer with and can behave in a normal fashion.
There's people in the same family now. Things have moved on.
All we're asking is just people to be
a bit of respect
and be decent human beings.
Charlie?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Echo every single word there for us. I think that it's up to I said it all night, the parents of the young supporters to lead by example. To show how to behave, and again, you can understand the passion and the, whatever you want to call it, before the game, during the game. There was a great atmosphere, two teams that wanted to win, two sets of supporters that were up for it, and then it's done, over with, gone. You can be disappointed, you can be happy, but obviously don't spill it onto the field or any vandalism or anything that like that. It's a great. I've said it before. It's a great rivalry and one of the best in the world, the derbies. But and sometimes it will spill over. But I think there's got to be some sort of lid on it and behaviour and people held responsible for that behaviour.
James is on the line in Govan, a Rangers fan. Hi, James. Good evening.
Hi, how you doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, we're good, thank you. So, James, what do you make of it?
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm really, really happy, Paul, that my
fact, or reading between the lines, they've identified the fact that we've been forced to give 7,500 tickets without any independent inquiry, anybody asking any questions, no think tanks, no meetings with Police Scotland about the implications of it. So I'm really happy that my club is saying we want the SFA to answer for their decision and giving out 7,500. We didn't want 7,500 of these people in their stadium. And Police Scotland have got a lot to answer. I've said loads of times they got a lot of money after us to police that game. There's no way they should have let the fans squeezed by the.
Oh, you mean the Celtic fans? You can say it, James. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Paul, I've not got anything against them. I don't want them in my stadium,
right.
And I don't want to be at their stadium.
James, let me ask you this.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. Yeah. At Hampden, there was 25,000 Celtic fans, 25,000 Rangers fans there in the Cup semi-final. It was fine. Nothing went wrong.
That's a normal thing that's acceptable all the time, Paul. But Celtic fans went to 2,500 right up to 7,500. And the fact is that there was a wee bit of a kind of underbelly there that a lot of supporters decided to turn up and force their way into that stadium. See, if we'd have had the front terrace and empty zone, that was a Hillsborough waiting to happen.
Well, nobody wants to...
There was too many people in that stadium, Paul. The SFA have forced us to let 7,500 people into that stand. And because there's so many people, knowing that that's the number that's going to be there, they've turned up in force and forced their way in the turnstiles. And Police Scotland should have had one person on each turnstile to make sure that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because that was a disaster waiting to happen. Listen, the stupidity on both sides of fans. Whoever's going to get the jail is going to get the jail. They're going to get a chat in the door. Listen, that's what should happen. But what I'm saying is, initially, that was your horns. Police Scotland didn't police it properly. The SFA forced us to give you 7,500 tickets. And that's it.
But James, that means, and you're absolutely right about the stewarding or whatever it was, the policing. Celtic fans shouldn't have got in there at the Broomlawn Road before the game. Absolutely. And the last thing we want is a Hillsborough. But at the heart of what you're saying is you don't want Celtic fans at Ibrox anymore. And I think that's sad, James, because, you know, the rivalry is a huge thing. There's a lot of things wrong with it. But the reason that people say it's one of the biggest and best in the world is because of the best parts of the rivalry. You know, there's things for 90 minutes, you can shout at each other, whatever, and then go home afterwards.
I don't know why the majority should be punished, because it's happened for years, that amount of fans at Ibrox, and it's been fine.
Sure.
There's been issues, of course there is. There's issues at there's a chance of issues at every event. But if it's policed properly, which I think we can all agree can be improved on, maybe when it goes to penalties, can we get police in the front row of the Celtic fans and stop them coming on the pitch, or when they're about to score that last penalty, or run the full stadium, whatever. There's ways of doing it. The extra fans, I think it was happening at the Rangers end as well, loads of people running over and getting in the crowd that shouldn't be getting in. That needs to be done better. But overall, I don't think we need to get carried away with the minority. The minority needs dealt with. We need to deal with the minority and find a way to get these people out the stadium or to not encroach onto the field, and then we're fine, I think.
And maybe part of the heightened thing was that you mentioned, James, is that it hadn't happened for so long. It's at 2018 since Celtic fans were last there in those kind of numbers. But Craig, this won't be the biggest derby in the world if there are no opposition fans at either ground. It won't.
No, I mean, again, I'm agreeing, Paul, in terms of, you know, when you have both sets of supporters in there, it creates the spectacle that the game is. You know, and we have seen for a number of years, you know, the decent amount of supporters at both stadiums. You know, I've been involved in those matches. Charlie, you've been involved in those matches. Won some, lost some. You know, so sometimes you've got to take your medicine. Some other times you've had the opportunity to celebrate with your supporters. I think it's what makes the match great. I mean, listen, there's an investigation where there are going to be things that crop up that can be done better in terms of what could have been done to prevent that. Let's also be happy that the situation, as bad as what it was, wasn't people losing their lives and this kind of thing. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like, it needs to be controlled. It needs to be thorough. It needs to be sensible. But I just, I still would like to find ways where the away allocation is still able to be in at the match so that can continue. I'll get that out eventually. Continue to be that special match that's watched all over the world.
Yep. Well, there's bigger derbies in the world where there's a lot more violence.
South America.
Boca, River Plate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they find a way to do it. We surely can find a way. We don't want MD getting hurt. We don't want MD encroaching in the stadium. We don't want the pitch. We don't want players running into the stand. But if we can get a bit of control on it and learn our lesson, then it's happened for years. People in the stadium. I don't see why we can't continue.
I think we're all keen to find out what's said about when it went to penalties. You would imagine people would say, "Okay, it's penalties. Whoever loses, they're not going to be happy at all." Yeah, and the stewards were there enough police there, and it may come back to the clubs, James. Maybe the clubs, both clubs, are not paying as much as they might have to in the future to have a bigger police presence. I haven't seen the figures yet, but your club have come out. They're agreeing with an independent review.
What does James think about what we've said there?
Yep, James.
Well, I mean, I'll be honest with you. That's very, very easy to police that, because I mean, all the years I've stayed in Dublin all my life, and that was always very, very easy to police. To go for 2,000 to be forced to put 7,000 in that stadium, that was a problem. And reading between the lines, Rangers feel that they were forced. They didn't have any say in the matter to put 7,500 people in that zone. There was no work up to it. There was no investigation. There was no think tank. There was no taking advice from the other people. It was just, you're forced. That's it. That's the rules. You don't adhere to that, you're going to lose the fixture. You're going to lose the point.
So you mean, James? You mean the preparation in terms of the allocation that was given to Celtic? You don't think that the preparation and the thought process, and therefore probably the prevention of the kind of things that we've seen, you don't think that they were in place or thought about?
No way, nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. And that poor woman that keeps saying about, resources and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not paying enough money to the players.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit, but for fans to meet in the middle of that park and cause mayhem and throw bottles. There was no nets up, but there was nets up to protect both fans.
Yeah.
Both sets of fans.
Yeah.
I think there was an opportunity.
To be fair, what I saw, to give the police some sort of credit here, when I'm sitting in the stadium watching it, see the minute the police horses with their eye gear showed themselves down the side of the pitch at the Celtic end, everything, the place dispersed into the stand. Everybody ran away. It was like a swarm of flies, and everything was completely calm. So eventually the police got on top of it.
In hindsight, it's easy to say, well, during the penalty shootout, obviously the away supporters normally get ushered out last.
Yeah, they're held for another hour or something. So happens at both grounds.
So in terms of the police force or the securities and the stewards, not supposed to, that ended up on the pitch, maybe even during the penalty shootout, that could have been across the 18-yard line. Yep. That stopped anything.
But sure,
hindsight.
But here's the thing, James. There wasn't 7,500 Celtic fans coming in. There was 100, 200 came on, and they shouldn't have come on. So the stewarding, the policing, or whatever, something went wrong. And as soon as they saw the police horses and the riot or whatever, then they went back on. Then the Rangers fans with the balaclavas came. Maybe they went back because of that. I'm not quite sure. It'd be good to see it all again. It's not the 7,500 in my view. It's, and I know Rangers, I think, didn't really want, I don't know for sure, but you heard beforehand, they thought it would be maybe 2,500. I don't think it's the 7,500. Surely we're better than that as a society. Yeah, it was maybe 200 people. Yeah, it's not like 7,500. Sorry, Charlie.
No, I did watch Rangers fans run. Celtic fans were on. Rangers fans ran down in a group eventually, and then all of a sudden just started going into the main stand and then coming back the way, and you were like, what's happened there? And you could see the horses in the corner. So there was a clear fear there of that, and that's obviously what's got to happen. Better timing in the future. Maybe, as Oz said, during the penalties, can you have police right across the battens right across the.
And that might be a numbers thing, Charlie. But we've all been in football abroad. Honestly, James, you may have been too. They're everywhere with the batons and all the rest of it. Now, nobody wants to see that, but maybe a bit more of show of force. People think it's all gone. Well, maybe they all think, the younger ones think, we can do what we like. You can't. Stay in the terracings. If you lose, go home.
Wouldn't they fancy getting hit with one of the batons?
If you win, don't come on. No, you've not been hit before. But you can hear. And James, you've been there all your life. I do understand that. I respect that. I just think it's such a shame, and it'll be easy to say it was because of the 7,000, the 7,500, or whatever, and people will retreat into and take their own. Their own views of it.
James, just with your point in terms of, you said that you would like to not see that amount. Just to give you my first experience of an Old Firm match was 93. I think it was a cup semi-final, James, and it was a 50-50 split.
Okay, yeah.
And I was a kid from Australia who'd never seen an Old Firm match, and I come away from that match and I could not believe
that was at Ibrox, wasn't it?
The atmosphere, the experience,
League Cup midweek. I was there. I was covering it.
But this was like, I'm like, I've never seen anything like that, and that was when
I remember it.
My dream to want to be involved in that was with a 50-50 split. It was unbelievable, Charlie.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely. I think everybody's in agreement. It's a better spectacle. It just needs to get the minority sorted.
James, are you going to win the league though? 9 games to go. I wonder what they're thinking this week.
There's no chance we win the league, Paul. We might be there or thereabouts at the end. There's no way we'll win the league. One final thing, what I would like to say on the fans kind of stuff is, all the people that go to the games always get triggered with something. The Celtic fans running on, and I don't want to blame them, you're right, but the Celtic fans running on trigger the Rangers fans to run on. See the Polish cordons at the front and don't allow that. None of that happens.
Yep.
None of that happens whatsoever. But here's one final thought, right? What's going to happen when each set of fans go to the away ground and they still wreck the internal toilets and stuff? How about that whatever fans say that off the club has to pay the refurbishment?
So I think I think it's a great point. I think that happens. I mean, we don't know for sure, but I think that has happened over the years.
Yeah,
the opposition club have had to pay, James, and they should.
Should be the people that do the damage that have to pay.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean,
if your club gets all that money, Paul, obviously the idiots aren't going to care. No. But if your club's going to charge all that money, you're going to behave yourself a bit better. Stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah. And listen, we're storing up trouble in the country that there's no consequences for under 16s. This has been going on for a number of years. I've got family work in schools and all. It's really tough. It's hard. And if young people think there's no consequence, well, what's to be lost, James? Do what they want. We need to toughen up a bit and get real.
At the end of the day, Paul, the way things have gone just now, you're not getting the jail. The jails are getting emptied. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So there's not enough room in the jail, so they're getting 6 months out of 2. So there's no punishment there.
James, listen, thank you very much for calling. James, a Rangers fan. Cheers, James.
Cheers, James.
So, I mean, it is really tough. It'll need the wisdom of Solomon on this one. Rangers have issued a statement. I'd imagine Celtic will issue a statement soon as well. And who's going to lead the independent inquiry? We love an inquiry in Scotland now, but listen, that's maybe for the politics show on Sunday morning. Maybe it's somebody with the wisdom of Bernard Ponsonby who'll keep us up to date with that one. And yeah, wow. We're going to talk football again. 0808 17 17 700.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Yeah, tomorrow night the Championship kicks off our weekend with Morton against Partick Thistle. Good game, isn't it? Yeah, the Taun. LA will be at that one, I would imagine. And Partick Thistle, my goodness, Charlie, what's your feeling? Are they going to do it for the title? Are they just going to... Is it going to be the playoffs? St Johnstone might be too
I think they'll get the playoffs. I think St Johnstone will be too strong. I think that... Listen, Mark Wilson's done a great job with Alex Ray, but I think to win it will be a step too far. But hey, who knows? Craig, do you have a view?
St Johnstone, automatic promotion. Yeah, Partick Thistle will be the playoffs. Look, I've watched them in a couple of playoffs where they've been ever so close.
The Ross County one away. 3-0 up.
But Mark Wilson has done a great job there. They also, although exited out of the cup, I thought were quite unlucky. Quite unlucky against St Mirren.
They were, weren't they?
Harsh decision. Penalty. The penalty.
Stephen Robinson's last game, as it turned out, as St Mirren manager. And of course, it does tell you in some ways, and I'm not knocking him at all going to Aberdeen. I get it. You've been there. You know the size of Aberdeen. And, I remember obviously as European Cup winners. But he could have been going for a double.
Yeah, I know.
At St Mirren. And then you're in forever, I know.
But you just felt like St Mirren were kind of... they're a wee bit falling down that table, and after that, they've not done well after the final. So I think to Everton's timing, we spoke about that earlier, and it was probably the right time for Stephen Robinson to get his move to a bigger club.
Marty's on saying Stuart Gettlewell, no harm to him, but how did he get the manager of the month in the Championship? So he's up there at Ross County.
I've got to agree. I think
2 wins.
Two wins, and I look at the run of games and all that sort of stuff, and I see where they're sitting on the table, and I had to scratch my head, if I'm honest.
Sure.
That was a funny one.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Jens Bertel Askew. So any update on that manager of the month? There's always a curse, isn't there? You either just lose the game before it or just after it when it's announced. But my goodness, huge game at the weekend. Motherwell are not going to come off the rails, are they, Charlie, though, between now and the end?
I don't think it. I think they've got far too a clear identity in what they are. The players all know what they are. They've had bad results this season and just bounced back instantly. No, he'll just continue to play. He'll be looking forward to this one at Celtic Park. He'll see it as a chance to impress there and get Motherwell a result. Going to be a big game for them.
It's an unusual week for Celtic. This is the first time in a long time no midweek games, because Stuttgart, as we said, was only 2 weeks ago. Aberdeen a week ago. Martin O'Neill spoke after the game at the weekend about the fact that there's a week until the next match.
That would be nice to have a wee look at things. So the boys have got a couple of days off now, which they've deserved for their efforts. And I think we're back on Wednesday morning, so it gives us a little run through until Saturday.
But of course, the news, it's not been confirmed, but Kieran Tierney should be in. But Callum McGregor probably missed the game at the weekend.
I think that shouldn't be overlooked. The very fact that Callum, he was, I think I said this, that he was feeling it in Aberdeen. I think he had I need to check. I think the medical team were saying it's something like this here last year. Maybe come back and maybe missed a few games or something like that there. So the best thing to do was just to take him out of it. Kieran was just certainly not right to start in the game. He might have been able to have come on, I think, but I thought, well, who knows what might happen during the course of it. He might have been forced to go on after 5 minutes in the match, and then he wouldn't have lasted. So for us to miss two big players like that there and still come through was brilliant. And
he was asked about the timescale. Any timescale at this point? It's a few days ago on Callum McGregor.
I think Kieran should, if I thought that he might have been able to have done maybe 30 minutes, all being well today, which he could not. So I'm hoping that he will be back for next week. Callum, we'll have to have a look. But before the game, when the two of them drop out, it's a major loss. So for the players to compensate for that there was brilliant.
Charlie, was that an Achilles injury last season?
Well, I think so.
Yep.
I remember, unless there's been an injury in between somewhere else after his Achilles. Remember the Achilles issue for a bit? He was out for a bit with that. So I don't know if that's what it is or whether he had a wee issue as well in amongst that. But I just think he's been overused for me. He should never have played any of the Stuttgart games.
Yep.
Include the first leg in that, Paul. I don't think Celtic ever this season were going to have a run in the Europa League, so I don't know why he was even risked or played, because domestic was always going to be a priority. It always is this year in particular, with the way Hearts have gone and the way the recruitment's been for Celtic, the way the seasons went with the managers. So I don't know why he was risked, and I can't see him making Saturday. Although I don't know, the way Martin was speaking there is that he must have a slight chance, but I can't see Callum missing a game at Ibrox. It's such a big game, and then playing the following week. I think. If it's even close, you don't take a chance with him on Saturday again. You need to make sure he's 100% for this run-in.
Today and tomorrow, though, today would have been hugely important after giving him a couple of days off, because you know what it's like. Having a heavy schedule, yes, it's heavy, but players also adapt very, very quickly. And all of a sudden you're going from games, and players love playing games, not so much love training. Games, and then all of a sudden go and have a couple of days off. I'm sure the whip would have had to have been cracked this morning because some, Charlie, as you know, come back a little bit, this is not... You know what I mean? And you need to come back and you need to be on it.
Yeah.
who's going to replace him if he's not there? Charlie, I'm going to ask you your Celtic team for the game with Motherwell, Craig. What about Rangers for the game at St Mirren? What about Sinisalo? Everyone's been impressed by his performances. They're majoring on him in the media today, in the papers.
He did really well for us. He did really well. He was, I just asked him, could he command the 6-yard box, and he did that wonderfully well. And when it looked as if, he might have been beaten, then somebody else got the block on for him. So I was really delighted with him.
Yeah, so Sinisalo has been... Greg, what do you make of him? The young Finnish international goalkeeper who came with great promise.
Yes.
Hadn't seen much of him. Had a game against Livy months ago. Didn't look that great. But since then, he's been on top form.
I think he's been excellent, Paul. You listen, he's had to watch a very good Schmeichel for the large part. But I think Schmeichel's form, obviously that was clear in terms of the opportunity then that Sinisalo was given, and he's come in and done a great job. And again, defensively, I touch on it. It's important that when goalkeepers come in and give a defensive backline confidence, and he's come in and done that. All of a sudden he's it's like there's been no change. There's a confidence from the defenders that they've got a good one behind them. And he has done well because Schmeichel's a big personality to replace and to come in and to keep him out. He's done very well.
Martin O'Neill looking forward to the break for a few days, and he was speaking about the importance of coming away still in the cup, a victory overall at Ibrox.
Any victory at Ibrox is big news for us, So from that viewpoint, it was great to win, and we're into the semi-final of the cup. Still a million miles to go, both that and in the league, but that should give the players an enormous boost.
And he spoke about choosing Scales at left back rather than Sirachi.
Yes, Sirachi was available, but we thought we'll start with Scalesy at left back. And the very natural concern is from set pieces, things like that. There, Scalesy has played left back and done it admirably, but it was really for that there we just needed a little bit more height for the set pieces, and it turned out that that's exactly what was needed. And
overall, the defensive display, which was the hallmark of Celtic last weekend against Rangers.
It's really, really strong. I mean, I know I've said this here and I don't want to delve into the past, but I've come here with really, really strong defence before. But I wouldn't, the number of blocks that we got on, the number of last-ditch challenges that we made in the game, just to stay in the tie, was really amazing.
Charlie?
I don't remember the last time I saw such a defensive display and a show of sort of old school defending, blocks, headers, defending your box. People talk about Rangers offer nothing in the final third. I think a lot of that was down to the back four in Sinisalo. You could argue a wee bit quality needs to be better for Rangers, but the times where it was, the blocks were there. I mean, Murray, Arthur, Trusty in particular was so good. Scales played well. Araho played his part in Sinisalo, was brilliant.
But see on Trusty, right? Trusty done well, and I know he's one of the better performers in the game. But he also, Charlie, for me, done a couple of things in the game that
embarrassing.
That were embarrassing.
Yeah.
Right, and I would say that whether that's a Rangers player as well, Paul, kind of trying to get players booked, going down the ground, and
it was
a bit like you're talking about your incident with Lafferty.
Yeah.
We don't want to see that in the game at any level. No. At any level, you know what I mean? Because it's hard enough for the referees to go and try and milk.
I think he gets sent off for that on the Hibs player. I can't remember his name anyway. He gets sent off for a
hit the hand
for a slap.
Yep.
Jamie McGrath.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And he dived.
Right. Yep.
I just wonder if trustees then think, any wee touching I'm going down here, which should never be in the game. It was actually, I was embarrassed for him when I saw a couple of the replays. I was like, just stand up on your feet.
For a central defender as well, it's kind of, Paul, it's one of those positions where you expect them to give it, but to take it.
Yeah.
So what's your Celtic team for the Motherwell game?
So I think this is what it'll be. I think it'll be Sinisalo, Araho. Don't know if Arthur will be fit. If Arthur's fit, I think he'll play. If he's not, Murray will play and Trusty and Scales. So same back four. I think Bernardo will come in for McCowan, Hatate and Nygren. Tenecti left, Yang right, Maeda up top. Now I think that's what the team will be. My changes within that would be I would play Forrest instead of Yang.
Yeah. You said that last week as well, didn't you?
Yeah, I'd play Forrest instead of Yang. Or or play Yang in the left-hand side ahead and Tenecti and Forrest in the right. I think Forrest needs to come in now. I think he's got a point to prove and somebody that can bring a bit of calmness to the game, pick the right pass, get the team up the pitch with running with the ball and find a teammate with a pass, and also he can go by a fullback and put a ball in the box.
Do you think that'll help them to tick? Because that has been missing. Was it the Dundee United game, which is 2 months ago, you felt was the last time Celtic really clicked as an attacking
They need
force.
to click like that again. Well, I'd love to see them click like that again, Paul, but I don't think they will. I don't know. I think they need performance to be better, but it's the stage now with the likes of Callum McGregor and Tierney and stuff out, when you can start naming Carter Vickers and Johnson and everything, then it needs to be a ground out performance, and hopefully there's a ground out result. Hopefully a performance comes alongside that, but I'm just not confident in the performance coming just now with Celtic. I think defensively they were brilliant on Sunday. If they show that same grit and determination off the ball and then try and bring a bit more, then that might be enough.
Craig, what are you thinking Rangers-wise for Sunday? And they've got the advantage.
I knew that was coming. That's why I was quickly scrolling there.
Yeah.
Listen, I think that my team that I would go 5-3-2. Right, I would have obviously Butland in goals. I would have Sterling. I would have Tavernier. I would have Giga. I would have Fernandez. I would have Romans. I'd have a midfield three of Chikwani, Raskin, and Mikey Moore. And I would have Naderi and Chamidi up top.
Yeah. They still seem to be the favourite too. So you're going 5 at the back?
I'm going 5 at the back because, again, listen, St Mirren are quite well organised. But they like to get balls into the box. And I think that confrontation in those wider areas to maybe stop easy delivery. Plus, I think what potentially Rangers could do going forward. Are you a little bit light in the middle of the park? Yeah, probably. But the one that you're thinking that can still make something happen and inform Mikey Moore, I think he can now have the confidence to play inside. I think it's important that Rangers keep 2 up top.
Is Scott Olsen in there, or is he on the bench?
He's on the bench.
He's not shown enough, has he?
Well, again, like I said, we touched on it in terms of... He probably hasn't. Okay. He probably hasn't, Paul.
Charlie, what do you make of Craig's Rangers team for Sunday?
It's interesting, but... Yeah, it's interesting. Everybody's got sort of their opinion how they would do it. I just think Danny Rowe stick to what he's done. As I said earlier on the show, he's had 4 games with a chance to pick what would be his strongest team in terms of his 4 new signings being the door: Romans, Chikwani, Nadiri, and Olsen.
Yep.
I think he needs to get them in the team again. Olsen probably needs, as Craig says, needs time and needs to step up and start showing some desire to create and score goals.
He's got time. He's got 9 games.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I know,
so
you know.
I think he needs to. He needs to. If I was him, I would play that formation again, because I think there was if you go the Hearts game, if you think the first half at Ibrox against Celtic, and then the 90 minutes there, although didn't create loads, but they dominated the game in terms of possession and territory. I think if you take the 3 parts of games in the full game, the last game, that's been Danny Rowe's best performances. As a Rangers' best performances, Danny Rowe in charge, although the results have not followed it. They've played worse in 1 games. So I think that team needs a wee run to see if they can go and pick up results along with the performances.
Craig?
And I've went with the 5-3-2, Paul, purely for the reason is I think we need to get Tavernier in the team.
You want Tavernier in?
Yeah,
I think a lot of Rangers fans do as well.
Yeah, I think if he goes with that, and Scott Olsen, like I said earlier, is not doing it 45 minutes, you can then bring Tavernier on. I do think he's got a lot to add to Rangers in this title run up with his delivery.
He was asked, he being Danny Rowe, how do you get your team winning again?
I think this is our job. That is how I will also take the energy, the positive things from the games. I think again, we improved in the last 7 days again, how we want to play. From my side, I see a clear direction, how a Rangers team should be. And there's no question mark for me that we go again and again. And my belief, my positive energy is more than here. If you know me longer, I'm not the guy to go too much inside. I'm more the fighter to go again, and with this confidence, I'm the leader of the group. I will show them during the week how good we are and what we can achieve. And 6 points in football goes quick. It could be 2 match days, and then we will speak in a different way, and we will try everything.
Danny Rose take on it. What do you think, Craig?
Listen, I would like to see Rangers can be direct, Paul. Yep. There's no doubt about that. So if you're going to be direct, make sure you get bodies around second balls. Really important. But at the same time, I would like to see midfielders being able to play the ball forward. And when you get into the wider areas, Charlie, as you know, you don't necessarily need to beat a man, Paul, to be able to get a good cross in. Yeah. You just can use sometimes a defender as a guide. Hit good areas, get bodies in the box. That will give you the best chance of a St Mirren team that interim situation. There's going to be potentially a bounce, but there's going to be a real hunger and desire because of their position on the table, Paul. They will fight for absolutely everything and will test Rangers defensively.
Need to take a break. Predictions for the weekend and more next.
The Go Radio Football Show with Burger King.
Craig Moore, Paul Cooney and Charlie Mulgrew. Blackbeard is with us. We're getting used to it. I don't think there's any big deal about it. A few people in.
That's fine.
On YouTube.
I'll keep washing it with the fairy liquid.
I said
big
on
shout
YouTube.
out to fairy liquid.
0808 17 17 700 will be here tomorrow night, and it's going to be Mark Guidi and Kevin Kyle, of course, former Rangers and Sunderland striker, who will be with us tomorrow evening. Yep, he popped in. Barry will be back hopefully.
Who's translating
on
for
Monday.
him?
Oh, the big unit from Stranraer, isn't he? Yeah, he was really good. How is your Russian? Did you get any words? You said earlier you were speaking with.
No chance.
I said to him, "Dos vidanya," and he went, "That's the word for cheerio, good night." And I know that my sister has a Russian degree.
Yeah.
Her husband wrote the history of Russia for the BBC, but it's the only word I know, which is shameful. I should learn some more. Craig?
One more than me. Well done, Paul.
Well, not so sure about the English. What about the game at the weekend, though? Celtic, Motherwell. We're going to go through the games, Craig. Let's hear Martin O'Neill speaking. He said his players really held their nerve on Sunday in the game with Rangers.
Yeah, they did. I must admit that they took them brilliantly. They were obviously under a lot of pressure to do it, and so to step up and take that kick, to take that walk for a start, which I said that you can't really do it. You can take penalties, which we did, but you can't really. What shall I say? You just don't know what it's like until you step up and take the penalties, and it was pleasing to see how well they did it.
As you'll have seen on YouTube. Come to you, Charlie.
Yeah, just when he's talking about that walk up there, I'm just getting flashbacks. 2016, I took one in the semi-final against Rangers at Hampden, and I was talking about it the other day. Put the ball down and stepped back, and my legs were shaking.
Yeah,
like shaking. My nerves.
And what happened?
Don't ask silly questions, Paul.
Hey! You scored. Yeah,
I scored in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
Picked my side and just kept it simple and managed to go in.
Who was the keeper?
Wes Fotheringham.
Wes Fotheringham, of course. Yeah. Craig, penalty taking.
Listen, I the more experience I got, Paul, the more happier I was taking that responsibility. I got myself into a mindset where I thought, you know what, if I miss a penalty, there's better players than me that have missed it.
Yep.
You know, like, so in terms of stepping up World Cup, you miss. But Charlie, I put it away as well.
What did you? No, never in doubt. What I always thought to myself was, and I decided about this early in my career, that I would rather miss and look myself in the mirror knowing that I stepped
took
responsibility and miss than look myself in the mirror knowing I could have done. I was tying my shoes and turned away and hid to avoid. Now, I'm not judging anybody that doesn't want to take them, because some people just go, do you know what, it's not for me. Right. Sometimes managers choose. Some people, sometimes it's right, who's volunteering. But I always thought I'm going to take responsibility and yep.
And it's a built-up, Paul, what he's talking about. I've seen penalty shootouts and all sort of stuff, and the gaffer's looking right, who's one, and all of a sudden you see a few people turning their backs and all that sort of stuff.
Calves getting stretched.
I always just thought, and again, I didn't take loads of penalties. Good contact. Good contact. You know what I mean? Because again, then if you're picking your side or going down the middle, if you make good contact, you've got to back yourself, and hopefully the goalkeepers dive the other way.
And I think you're purely relying on that young boy who struck a ball a million times, and you're just purely relying on that because as I said, your stomach's in knots. My legs were shaking. There's a lot of nerves there, and you just think, pick a side, put it there. I mean, I don't understand. I've got so much respect for the people that have dinked
Change it and change all the time, every single penalty.
People that have dinked ones down the middle. I mean, Zidane, you think about in the World Cup, barring in, like that is.
How can you do that at that level of game?
That's
amazing.
Composure.
Ross is on in LA. He's saying, don't do that stupid stop. Hesitate.
I don't like
and
that
then
either.
choose. Yeah,
I like that.
Do you?
Do you?
Like
but that's just what you meant.
So I scored 14 goals for Blackburn in my second last season there, or third last season, and I was on the penalties because the striker who usually hit them was injured or something, and I says, I'll take it, and I took the ball and I scored. And what my method was there, what I wish I'd used my whole career hitting penalties, was I ran up to the ball, I stopped about 2 yards before it.
Goalkeeper dive.
No. If the goalkeeper dived that early, then ideally I go the other way. But my thinking was, if he stays still, I know that he's never getting to it when I put it in the corner. So I used to go there and go, right, he's still now I can choose whatever way I want, just hit the corner.
But what happened if you don't hit the corner? How many got saved? Not many.
Last day of the season, the keeper saved one that I did for my 15th goal. I think I must have hit about 7 or 8 that season and scored. If I hit 7, I scored 6. But I scored 7.
That was too clever for me, Paul.
No,
it was because. By the way, there's a lot of things that you're thinking of, and
course.
And there's Zidane and the dinky do and all that sort of stuff, man. That's top level. I wasn't top level. I just want to contact, try and score,
smash it.
So you'll have James Tavernier in the Rangers team if you were choosing it for Sunday.
I would.
But before that, Celtic Motherwell then, Greg, who's going to win?
I tell you what, I think it's a really, really tight game. I would not be surprised to see this game be a draw.
A draw? Score draw, do you think?
Score draw. I think, and again, I'm saying draw, but I think whoever scores first, oh my God, are in a wonderful position. I'm going for a draw, Paul.
And you're saying look out for Elijah Just.
Elijah Just, very good player.
Maswaniti.
Because Celtic will need to worry about when he's on the ball because he's lively.
Charlie, what's going to happen? Are you going to go to the game? I think
I'm going to go to the game.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it'll be 2-1 Motherwell.
2-1 for 2-1 Motherwell?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's my guess.
Okay.
Maswanisi?
He'll be there and thereabouts, you'd imagine. He'll be thereabouts as well.
Right, I need to get your Hearts prediction then, because if you're going for
I've got Hearts to win 2-1.
Wow. So are you then going to put the flag up and say, I surrender? And it's going to be Gorgie Road.
I'll never surrender. I've said the pressure's on Hearts. It's their title to lose now.
Wow.
Paul, I
Is
think
that psychology?
Kilmarnock Hearts. Yeah, but how many times, many times have we seen, right? So Celtic are the earlier kickoff. Celtic can win the game, but we all recognise it's a hard game.
Sure. It's Martin O'Neill, the manager, so you never know.
Nah, and his team are physically strong. Yeah. So if they drop points, how many times have you seen somebody above that Hearts go and drop points? Because I think Kilmarnock will get a draw in that match. I don't think Kilmarnock will lose that match.
Okay. Charlie, you think Hearts are going to win?
Hearts win 2-1.
What do you really think?
Motherwell win. That's what I think. What I hope is different. What I think is that.
Okay. And then Rangers on Sunday, cutting to the chase. Charlie, you first. What do you think then?
I think Rangers will win that game 2-0.
Craig?
I think Rangers will win. I don't think it's going to be comfortable, but I think Rangers will win against St Mirren, Paul.
The manager has been asked a few times about mentality. Didn't really like it. Being asked about it the other day.
Mentality, guys. This word should be not the topic today. When I see 120 minutes, just one team who deserves to win, that's not about mentality.
See, if you're the manager, you would think, look at the money spent in the summer. That's nothing to do with Danny Rule. He got a tune out of those players. He's got 4 new ones in. The club, new owners, all the rest of it. 9 wins, and they'll win the title.
They won't win 9. They won't win 9, Rangers.
And why not?
Because I don't think they have the minerals. He's obviously taken a little bit of offence to the mentality one because over the 2 games his team performed, but again it's performance via result, and the results weren't there in the 2 matches against Celtic. I would prefer him talk about players that are winners. That for me is more, mentality. I kind of get it. He's getting a little bit noised up by it. Okay, well, are your player winners? Because I don't think Rangers will win the next 9 games.
in which case then clearly it looks as though it would be Hearts, depending what you're saying. I'm just wondering, Charlie, getting to know you, are you just saying this thinking Martin O'Neill's Celtic are going to just keep in there? 4 away games that they didn't lose.
Up on the wall, the paper.
Yeah.
Listen, if Hearts lose it for this position, I don't know how they live with themselves, because they've put themselves in an unbelievable position. It's theirs to lose.
Yep.
Look at the table. It's theirs to lose. Let's see them. Let's see it.
And do you know what we've missed in the last 5 days? The chat about this is amazing. 4 teams going for the title here in Scotland because of what happened. Right at the end of the game. Dundee United. What do you think? You'll be there in the City of Discovery.
Yeah, I'll be doing that for Premier. I think hard. I'm going to go 2 each.
2 each you're going.
That's a very popular scoreline with the Dundee derby, isn't it?
Great.
2-2.
Who's going to win? It's going to be Aberdeen against Falkirk. Stephen Robinson up against John McGlynn.
Falkirk are going to win that.
Okay. Hibs Livy, what do you reckon?
I've got Aberdeen to win 2-1, by the way,
Okay,
because
all right.
a new manager bounds. Hibs Livy 3-1 Hibs.
And do you know what? We're out of time. We'll do the full score predictor tomorrow night. Charlie, Craig, thank you so much.
Cheers,
Thank you.
Paul.
Cheers,
Charlie
Paul.
and Craig, but it's not the Proclaimers. It's the top 2. Tomorrow night, Kevin Kyle will be here along with Mark Guidi. Thank you to everyone who called in and who's been on. We'll be back tomorrow night at 5.